The snow was perfect that day, thick and powdery under a pale blue sky. Two tall, skinny girls around 9 or 10 years old, both with brown hair, leaned over their sled at the top of the hill. They were good friends, almost inseparable, always daring each other to go faster, try harder, and climb higher. With them were two younger boys around 6 years old. One wore large glasses that constantly slid down his nose. He was the brother of one of the older girls. The other, slightly stockier boy with lighter hair was his best friend and also a distant cousin. The four made an odd but tightly knit group, bound by the adventure only winter could bring. At first, they started small, taking cautious runs halfway down the slope, squealing with laughter as the sled skimmed across the snow. But soon the older girls wanted more. "Let's go higher," said one of them, her breath visible in the cold air. The younger boys hesitated, but the girls coaxed them. "Come on, it'll be fun." Run after run, they climbed farther up the hill until they were standing at the very top. It was a steep incline, the kind that promised speed and danger. The girls looked at each other, grinning. "All four of us together," said the girl with the brother. "On one sled." The boys hesitated, glancing at each other, but their curiosity and the pressure to impress won out. They all piled onto the sled, the girls in front, the boys clinging tightly at the back. "Ready?" the other girl asked. "Ready?" With a push, they were off. The sled shot down the hill like a rocket, snow spraying in their wake. They shrieked with excitement, but their laughter quickly turned to panic as the sled gained uncontrollable speed. The yard at the bottom of the hill was coming up fast, a yard surrounded by a tall, pristine fence. "Turn! Turn!" one of the boys shouted, but it was too late. The sled smashed through the fence with a crack, splintering wood as it careened into the yard. The four tumbled off in a heap, gasping and coughing as they tried to gather themselves. "Is everyone okay?" the girl with the brother asked, brushing snow from her face. Before anyone could answer, they saw it, a snow sculpture near the centre of the yard. It was a deer, lifelike and beautiful, crafted with such precision it almost seemed to breathe. But the crash had broken part of its hind leg, and dark red stains began seeping through the snow beneath it. The taller girl knelt, brushing away some of the snow, and gasped. Beneath the icy sculpture was a mangled carcass, real flesh and bone buried beneath the frozen art. The boys began to cry, but the girls grabbed their hands. "We have to go," the other girl said, her voice shaking. They turned toward the broken fence, ready to flee, but stopped dead. A woman stood in front of the opening, watching them. She was tall and thin, wrapped in a pale shawl that seemed to shimmer in the dimming light. Her face was all sharp edges, her eyes cold as the frost on windows. "You've ruined my work," she said in a softly rasping voice, stepping forward towards the children. The girl with the brother stammered an apology, but the woman silenced her with a raised hand. A hand with unnaturally long, bony fingers, with nails that came to sharp points like little daggers. "You've done more than that," the woman continued. "You've disturbed my peace." The children bolted toward the gap in the fence, but the snow beneath their boots softened suddenly, pulling them down like quicksand. A sudden gust of wind swirled, causing a minor snowstorm in the immediate area. "Help!" the stocky boy cried, his voice muffled as the snow slowly crept up to his chest, his cries muted by the gusting wind. The more they struggled, the faster they sank. The girls clawed at the snow, the one reaching for her brother, but her arms grew heavy and stiff. The boys' futile screams were quickly muffled as they sank into the softening snow. The last thing the four children saw was the woman's smile, thin and cruel in the cold winter air. When the snow finally stilled, the yard was quiet again. In the place where the children had fallen stood four new sculptures: a tall girl with wind-swept hair, another with her hand outstretched as if reaching for something, a small boy with glasses perched perfectly on his frozen face, and a stocky boy whose expression was frozen in silent terror. In the middle was a perfectly recreated snowy version of the sled that had crashed through the fence. By morning the fence was mended, the yard as pristine as ever. No one in the neighbourhood noticed anything amiss. No one except the woman who stood at her window, gazing out at her new creations.